Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to D6 Tabletop. So it's Saturday morning, we're back on the road, which should only mean another 40k tournament, which is odd considering this is supposed to be my weekend off. But there I was yesterday, sat at my painting desk, working on some new Tyranids, when I got a message from my friend Rob from Bristol Crusaders saying they had a emergency dropout in their team and could I potentially fill it and help them out. So here I am, heading down to a place called Factorum in Warminster. 3 games of 40k, 2,000 points aside, 3 players in a team. I've brought my Crons, I've not used them since the ITC tournament, and that was in the Leviathan deck, so that's going to take just a quick adjustment to remember the rules. I've read the Codex again to remind myself, check the updates, check the FAQs, and every other possible option required due to the changes in the rules all the time. But we're ready. So, thought I'd do a bit more of like a vlog version of the video this time. Whilst I drive down to Warminster, let's have a little look at my list and see what we find when we get there. See you soon.
Of course it's got to rain. Ugh. My list then, kicking off with the characters. The staple of most Necron armies at the moment, we have got a Technomancer with Flying Disc attached to a unit of Wraiths. He's got the enhancement giving them reroll 1s to wound when they're on the Paramatrix, and he also grants the unit a 5-up Feel No Pain, along with their Toughness 6 and 4-up Invulnerable Safe. They're just genuinely very hard to shift, and they're a staple for sitting on an objective and keeping some control, because if I don't control the objectives, I don't get my army bonuses. Next up, we've got all the Satan, so we're going to start off with the Nightbringer. Absolute beat stick. He goes around, pretty much what he touches dies. However, they are very susceptible to anything with the word Melter in them. Next up, we've got the Void Dragon. I'm still not sure about this chap. I bring him out because he's cool. However, he's yet to do anything for me in an actual game. I think he's probably more a waste of points. Then we've got a Transcendent. This key piece, fantastic at scoring, alright at killing stuff, not great into high toughness stuff, but it's pretty good at your elite, your infantry level, and because of its ability to teleport around the field, fantastic for scoring objectives. Next up, we've got 6 Scorpex. I love these models. I don't think they're optimal. However, I just love them so much that they go in the list regardless. Consider it a bit of a handicap for taking triple Satans. Next up, 3 Ophidian Destroyers. These are brilliant for scoring objectives. They're up and down each turn, allows them to get around the board and help score me those secondary points. In terms of actual damage output, it's very minimal. They'll be great into Guardsmen. That's probably about it. 3 bikes are used here for speed. I've given them the 3-up save option, and they've got an ability to move, shoot, and move. So again, good for getting some board control and getting around or shooting and then getting out of the way to avoid being killed. 3 Scarabs, they're purely here for being able to screen out at this point. Because of their OC0, they're not very good at doing much else. However, if they are in range of a Technomancer, they do all go to OC1, so can then do some actions depending on what's going on. So they could be a bit useful. We'll wait and see. Next up, we've also got Hexmark Destroyer, the Gloctopus. Lone Op, he's an action chap. He's here just to come in deep strike late game and to do some actions. Because of being Lone Op, it'll make him very difficult to get rid of. I'm hoping he can come off and do some stuff for me with very little risk of being lost. 1 single Locust Destroyer. He is purely here for actions, and because I had the points spare to put him in the list. They're not very good at shooting stuff on one single model. They're not very good at staying alive, but he can come off from strat reserve late game and score me some extra secondary points, hopefully for something like Engage or maybe an action. And then the big guns in my list, 2 Canoptic Doomstalkers. Good damage output, D6 plus 1 shots blast, high strength, good AP, good damage. And because of my Canoptic Court rule, as long as they're in my deployment zone, they get to reroll all the hit rolls all game, and they also fire Overwatch on a 5-up, which, when rerolling, is pretty nice. So with that being my list, I'm hoping that I've got enough stuff that can stay on the board and score points. Enough stuff to give a bit of damage output, but if I come into anything particularly heavy, I reckon, anything like heavy loads of vehicles or like high toughness stuff, I might struggle, because the only real thing that's going to be good at killing high toughness is the Doomstalkers and a Satan. Probably the Nightbringer. I still don't rate the Void Dragon. Everything else is kind of more at middle infantry. The Wraiths are great at staying on the table, but they're pretty rubbish at doing much damage output, and that's about it. Right, I'm pretty sure I've parked up by now. Going back to Warminster. So we've made it down the Factorum. I go find the Bristol Crusaders and see how the guys are doing. While I do that, let's have a little look at what Factorum's got to offer before getting into Game 1. Factorum is based on the outskirts of Warminster at a business park. It's 2 stories with quite a lot of gaming tables, and quite possibly the first place I've been to that's got a sofa section. It's got an on-site cafe supplying you with food and drink throughout the day, ranging from all-day breakfasts, including burgers and other options available. I tried one of their burgers whilst I was there. Look at the size of this thing. They also offer up armies to rent if you want to try and dabble in different game rules without having to put all the investment in of buying and painting the models. These armies include for games including Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Old World, Star Wars Legion, and some of these spaceship games. I don't really know what they are. They've also got a load of Titans. I'm not so sure if they're for show, for games, or for hire, but they look cool. Gaming tables, they've got loads of them all over the place, downstairs and upstairs. Upstairs just keeps on going. They've also got a whole host of old stuff as well, so if you like your GW memorabilia and looking through some of the old books, there's an entire cabinet just for you. The shop's stocked with all your regular hobby supplies, your paints, your brushes, your plastic kits, depending on what you're after, as well as ordering in all the new releases should you want them. And if you are a Factorum member, you get a discount as well, which is really nice. They hold lots of events there, including 40k, Sigmar, Lord of the Rings, which I'm hoping to go to one maybe a little bit later in the year. And they also offer up the venue for you to run your own event if you want to. Contact them to find out more. So with all of that, let's get on to Game 1. Game 1 that I'm playing against Lewis from the team Ambrosden Gaming Club and his Invasion Fleet Nids. He's got a smattering of big bugs, lots of little gribblies, including the brain bugs. He's got a Norn, which he's dedicated this objective in the bottom left as its target objective for the game, giving it OC 15. And all in all, quite a nasty list. We're playing Search and Destroy, Purge the Foe, so points for killing more than the opponent kills, and Adapt or Die, allowing you to change your secondary cards twice per game without expending a CP. Due to the fact that I don't really have many vehicles in my list, he has gone for anti-infantry, which will do him well against the race because thanks to Technomancer, they get the infantry keyword. After all the roll-offs, he goes first. He gets the scout move with the Gene Stealers. He gets the charge into the Raves, and he precisions out my Technomancer straight away, which I thought was going to set this game into a real bad steamroll for me. Start turn 2 being Lewis. It's been a brutal first turn. We've lost the Technomancer already, so my Feel No Pains are now gone. Slight setback. But we did kill a Broodlord and Gene Stealers, wasn't it? Which was good for me. I don't like these. I really don't like these. My Scorpex might be in trouble. As he pushes these big bugs, the Norn and I think it's the Haruspecs through the bottom left, I think to myself, I don't want to deal with that, so I ignore it for most of the game, allowing me to utilise the rest of my army around the top objectives and the centre, leaving the Void Dragon down the bottom to act as kind of a blocker and a deterrent against anything that might want to charge my big guns. The Screamer Killer's gone in the middle, thankfully. I've now got a lot of OC there. I've lost my top corner though to more Nids. I've got bikes hidden in the corner. Nightbringer doing Nightbringer things, but now not doing anything because he's stuck in the middle of the open. A Lictor's turned up. But we have got rid of the brain bugs, but the big one's still alive, which is still annoying because Shadow in the Walk will ruin me. And yet to see what the 2 big boys are going to do in the corner. And we've teamed up Satan in the corner. This was a really good game. Lewis was a great opponent. Couple of key moments being him getting the Scorpex down to 1 model on 1 wound, which of course we all know that if you get a Necron down to 1 wound, that they will all just start coming back next turn, and that's what happened. By the end of the game, I think I had 4 models back in the unit. I got some good draws on secondaries here as well, and thanks to Necron's staying power and the board presence, I was able to make the most of those secondaries and score the max amount of points possible where able. Highlight of the game for me would be a unit of Scorpec Destroyers charging a Screamer Killer in the hope of doing a few wounds, but actually when they get to reroll all their hit rolls on the charge and pop in their once per game devastating wounds, meant that I actually managed to kill it outright with a lot of Scorpecs, which is by far the best thing they have ever done on any game I've ever played them in. Go Scorpecs. I'm sure they'll be resigned to doing nothing now for the rest of the tournament. Meanwhile, the Nightbringer's going around doing Nightbringer things. First, he kills out all of the Gene Stealers and the Broodlord, then moves on to the rest of the table at the top and starts just picking things and getting rid of them. Void Dragon does nothing as normal. Transcendent is teleporting around scoring me points. Really good game all the way through, and if it wasn't for the fact that the Canoptic Court have got a stratagem that lets you pick a Canoptic unit, which includes my big guns, and turn them lone op for 1 CP, I probably would have lost my big guns early in the game, but as it happened, every time they got targeted, I was able to pay a CP and make them not able to be shot, allowing me to keep using them in reverse to get rid of the units on the board, with the final score being 94 to the Necrons and 68 to the Tyranids. Thanks for a great game, Lewis. Him and his teammates went on to win Best Sporting Team of the Day, which was thoroughly well deserved. All three of us had 3 really great games with all of them. And with that being said, moving on to Game 2. Game 2, I'm playing Rowan from the team Don't Know How to Join a Team. This is actually a team of the TOs. We had a dropout on the day, so the 3 TOs were a backup team, and they ended up stepping in and playing it with the rest of us as well. He's running Chaos War Dogs. There are 11 of them. I don't know which ones are which. I never really do know when I'm looking at them. There's also a couple of Beasts of Nurgle, some Plague Bearers, or Poxwalkers, one of the two, and Nurglings. God, I hate Nurglings. We're playing Crucible of Battle, Terraform, which is actions on objectives to keep them as yours, and Stalwarts, which is a battle line unit requirement. And since I haven't got any, I didn't bother reading it. Remember at the start of the video when I said I might not do too well into lots of high toughness vehicles or anything with melter weapons? Well, I knew I was in for a rough ride this time round and quite an uphill battle. Rowan's a very good player with his knight list, so I thought I would resign myself to just trying to knuckle down, kill out as many knights as I could with my Titan, and score as many points as I could whilst I'm still alive and staying on the table. You won't find any handheld vlog video from this one because I was spending the entire game trying to concentrate and trying to get as many points as I could during the game. Effectively, my main problem here is that I haven't got enough stuff high strength to take out vehicles. When we're looking at it, I've got 2 big guns and potentially just the Nightbringer. Rowan gets to go first, isolates that the Void Dragon is one of the key things to get rid of as he's my only real anti-vehicle, and pops in first turn due to the fact that he can come in within melter range. And although I will half damage everything being shot at him, once that's been applied, the melter damage is still added on top. There's only so much that a 5-up Feel No Pain can do before you lose it. So, with the Void Dragon gone, I was down to 2 Satan. The Transcendent isn't really meant for vehicles. It's only strength 9 with its weapons. It's got no anti-keywords. It's mainly there for elites, troops, and scoring points. The Nightbringer putting on a good show and managing to kill a fair few War Dogs before getting ganged up on by about 5 of them. After Rowan had got fed up with me making all the save rolls and the Feel No Pains, he'd had enough and decided to throw as many as he could at him. With each knight being OC8, it caused me quite a bit of problems as well because most of the OC on my units is around 12 on a good unit, mainly about 5 or 6, so even then, unit for unit, I can't out-OC him. And even with me trying to pull out every trick that I possibly could to keep myself in the game, it ended up with 87 to the Chaos Knights and 42 to the Necrons. I still feel pretty good about that one. I've never done really well into anything like that. Anything heavy vehicle-based, tank-based, I'm the same when it comes to Imperial Guard tank lists. It's just not what this list is really good against. It just happened that their other 2 teammates, when it came to the pairings, had Imperial Knights and Eldar. So all in all, maybe the Eldar might have been a better matchup for me. But we didn't get to pick them in the way that the team formats work. But yeah, still feel pretty good. Rome was a really good player to play against. And they did go on to win the entire tournament. So, can't complain. Moving on to Game 3.
So at the start of Game 3, the team we're playing has only got 2 players. One's dropped out, so I volunteered for Martin to drop out because I'm here to help them for the day. So I've come to see how the rest of the Bristol Crusaders are doing. As it turns out, 2 of the teams are playing themselves. So we've got a game of Votan versus Thousand Suns.
We're playing Hammer and Anvil, Linchpin, and Raise Banners. Again, another battle line requirement, and since I haven't got any battle line, didn't read it, but it's about actions on objectives to get you extra points.
Votan are doing disgusting Votan stuff.
So I engage on 2 fronts. Belongs to me.
That's it. It just belongs to you. That's it. It's all yours. On the next table down, we've got Guard and Marines.
Strength 9, so 3s. We've got 2 83 damage frees.
Plus the map.
Got World Eaters versus Marines.
Meanwhile, over at my team's gaming table, we're playing the team of Big Thick Boys, with their theme of their lists having the biggest, thickest models possible. The demons list is full of just that, big demons, and the other chaos list has got this lad in it. Against them, my team are running a Tyranids Vanguard list, hoping to get all up in their grill and pin them in a deployment zone, and a Chaos Space Marine list into the Chaos Demons. So much chaos on one table.
I failed 2.
Yeah.
So that,
you get them in that.
goes
on
on
to the havocs.
The Havocs, yeah.
I should have assumed it was a squad
okay,
of
so
10.
that kills 1.
You told me. You probably said it was a squad of 5.
Okay. Okay,
Did
so
not
1
listen.
out
Over
of
in a minute, and then so that's 5.
That's a lot of demons. Or lords.
Flamer from here onto these guys.
Yep.
Close games all round in Game 3. James at the top had a close win with his Tyranids, and Mike on the bottom had a close loss with his Chaos against Chaos. I think that effectively makes it a draw in terms of team scoring. I still haven't quite got my head around the ITC team scoring stuff. We'll get there. So with all that being said, let's wrap up the day and have a look at the scoring. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, the winners of the day were the TO team of Don't Know How to Join a Team, second place was the Wah Boys, and in third was one of Bristol Crusaders' own teams, the Golden Fish Raiders. Our team of the Tyrannical Pirate Robots came 5th out of 12, so not a bad showing all round. And as I mentioned earlier, the guys from Ambrosden Gaming Club got a very well-deserved Best Team Award. So after all that, all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching. Thank you to the guys from Bristol Crusaders for having me down and having me part of the team. Thank you to Ginger Odin Miniature Wargaming for putting on the event, and to Factorum for letting them host it there. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, as always, to the channel. Until we see you on the next one, take care, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.